Okay, good afternoon. It's a lovely weather here in Ireland for the ducks. It's nothing but rain all day and cloudy, but we won't let that get us down. We've adapted to it. We're well used to it. Okay, today we're going to make these gorgeous little Dutch style dressers. They're lovely. Easy to make. The only thing is now, all along when we've been doing our little small pieces, when leaving them to dry, you might get away with a couple of hours depending on your atmosphere, how warm it is. But this is one of the ones I'm always telling you about. Because it's this size, they have to be left overnight to dry. Word of warning. Okay, but just get on with it and I'll explain them to you. This is what your PDF file layout will look like. And you will have to cut two. So we're moving on to more paper now. 2 sheets of 300 GSM cardstock will make one of these. You just literally cut this file twice. I'm looking at the files come in DXF, Vector, PDF and SVG. If it's a case that the format you need for your particular machine or laser or any new machines, if it's not there, let me know and I will gladly format format it for you to whatever file you need. Okay, so in this file I'm including this beautiful backing paper. I love this. I absolutely love this. This is designed to be big and bold, so I've downsized it. So in a 1/12 scale doll's house, it'll be big, bold wallpaper on the wall if you want to use it as wallpaper. But today we're going to use it. It's coming with your file, so you can use it for inside if you want. You can have it plain, or, you know, the world's your oyster. I love this paper. I'm actually considering, I found a online company in the UK who will actually print your files to wallpaper and fabric. So I'm seriously considering this for my bedroom in my new house, my new little fixer-upper house. But sure, here we go. This is your template guide. Guys, you know the score now at this stage. Print it off and use it and go along with me. And then when, you know, I had to consult this. I designed this, I'd say about 1.5 years ago. Maybe more, no, it was more. Actually, no, this one is old. It could be the guts of 4 years. I can't remember now exactly. I've done that many files. I lose track. But I still have to consult my template guide. Definitely. And I'm the one who designed them. So printed them off and get used to using them. And then just store them away in a nice file for future use. So anyway, here we go. We just put our pieces on. I'm only gluing 2 pieces down. I'm going to glue the largest piece down because we've never done a large piece before. This is our first large piece. The sides, shelf, and then the front, the box front. I call it the box front because it's kind of like a box shelf. So don't get confused. Anyway, here we go. We're going to do the big one first. We'll get through this really quick. What I do is I put the glue in the center and then work my way out. Because if you've too little on, it doesn't matter. Better too little than too much. Now, especially on these big pieces, guys, it's best, less is best, because you don't want to stretch out your card. You run the risk of stretching out your card and things being too misshapen. Just move quickly. Move as quick as you can with them while you're doing them, especially the bigger pieces. I'm just wiggling it all into shape there. I'm layering it up as best as I can, as even as I can. Now don't panic if your layers start to go a little bit askew. I think if you're used to my videos, you know we can fix things up at the end, but just before we paint. I need a bit more glue. Yeah, we have more glue. I'm just going to use this one. I'll save me gloopy glue for putting it together. Start from the center and work your way out. Get your edges. I'm definitely going to get a t-shirt printed with "Get Your Edges." The edges are very important, especially on these bigger pieces. This is by no means the largest piece of furniture or largest piece. We're only starting to get big now. Wait till we move on to the wardrobes and things. I am compressing as hard as I can. Turn it over. Now I'm gluing on the opposite side this time. Blob in the middle and work your way out. If you have too much on, you can just wipe it off. Do you hear my dog bark? I hope you can't hear him. He's a little pest. Even though I love him, he can drive me insane at times. He's a tiny little miniature chihuahua, and I'm telling you now, he has small man syndrome. He thinks he owns the world. I'm compressing really hard. Look, see, I had too much glue on. Can you see where it moved out? You can just easily slide it back into position. Now, because there's too much glue on that side, I'm going to turn it over the opposite side and go from there. Now I'm going to turn it back to the side I glued, and that should solve the problem. Here we go. Now over to the opposite side. Blob of glue in the middle. I'm rushing too much because I don't want all of these videos to be about just gluing down. If you're new to my channel, or if this is your first time to see one of my tutorials, down below I will have I'll have recommended one or two recommended videos for one of my smaller pieces, and it's the best place to start. And I go more in depth into the process. Over the opposite side, because it's big, we're giving it more attention. Dog is barking like mad. Do you know what? It could be a wasp in the window or something. You wouldn't know with him. He's gas. Yeah. Getting your edges. Edges are very important, especially on the big pieces. I'm brainwashing you. Now see how quick that was. And that's the main part of the shelf. Just check in over the other side one more time because it's such a big piece. Now I'm taking, this is my terry towel, my damp terry towel. I have paint all over me. I don't know what that, I have paint everywhere. It's actually varnish. I was working on something else just before this and I have varnish. Look, it's on my plaster. It's only varnish. It's not blood and guts, I promise you. Now, just leave that aside for a few minutes. That's dry. That one, well, it's not dry, it's glued. And so is that one, and so is that one. So we're just down to the more little complicated box shelf front. But what I do is I just dab anywhere there's little holes or, you know, little designs. I just dab around it and get my edges. So we won't get loads of glue caught in here. It just makes life easier for later on when we're painting and varnishing. And we're getting it as even as we possibly can. Do you know, I'm going to turn on a light because it's gone very dark. Now, hopefully that's better. Oh, I think it is. It's a bit better anyway. Yeah, the clouds are rolling over there and it's making everything look so dark. So now the noise of that, it goes like that when it's warming up that lamp. Oh dear. Okay, let's get this done. Stop, you bugger. Yeah. I hope that's not too annoying. It's nothing I can do till it warms up, and I don't want to stop the video. So basically enough glue that it will stick, and definitely get my edges. Now because there's a hole, there's a little design there. I'm trying to think what I call it. Now I'm a little bit off there, so I'm going to just squish it down. Now you're never going to get these perfect. All you can do is your best. Just do the best you can to get them as perfect as you can, as straight and as perfect and as even as you can. And that's all you can do. And if there's any lumps or bumps or uneven edges, we're going to get rid of all them just before we paint. See these ridges? I'm going to hold it still enough. There's always going to be ridges, and sometimes very minuscule way. Some of them are slightly higher and lower than the other. We'll get rid of that. That will be gone. No one will ever notice a thing. No one will ever know that these are made out of card. Look, you can see the ridges are gone. I'm working on a sort of an architecturally designed rocking chair at the moment. I went online. That's where I get a lot of my inspiration when I visit towns and villages and museums and all sorts of places. But I actually went online on the hunt. I wanted to do something different. And I came across, it's actually in Ireland. It's a museum in Dublin City, and it's all about chairs. And there were some amazing chairs. Now, I never even knew it existed. It was an old army barracks near Euston Station in Dublin. And yeah, I got so excited. I'll have to go down and visit now. I really do. Maybe I'll do a video, go down and visit it. But anyway, this particular chair I fell in love with. So I started to design my version of it. And I can't even think of the guy who did it, the guy who designed it. But I'll have all that information when I'm doing the tutorial. Now, everything as even as possible. Now that's that. You know what's coming next. All that's left to do. Now, I'm sorry guys, I have these done in advance. But all that's left to do is leave it 24 hours, overnight at least. But I'm going to say 24 hours because it depends on where you live, humidity and everything else. I would put even another 1 or 2 books on top of that and leave it alone. Work on a few at the same time. And it'll take that kind of, you know, I do get anxious and a bit of anxiety waiting for things to dry, and I get all excited. So work on a few things at a time and it'll help with that. Now, I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm going to root out the ones I have dried already. And I'm pretty sure I had another one made up. I'll have to go and look. Okay, I've just rooted out those. Do you know what I forgot to do? Head like a sieve, Jackie. I forgot to put the papers on. I cut out one lot. One of the files out of just paper. Now, I'm going to say to you, this is copy paper, but it's a good quality copy paper. You know, the really cheap, almost see-through copy paper. It will depend on how good your mat or your blade is. So I recommend a higher quality. I bought a pack of, I think, 200 snowy white something or other they were called in Tesco's. I think it was 90 GSM. But the blade, my Cricut, this was cut out on my Cricut, and they cut it out nice and easy. But I do know the same Cricut machine, if I use the really cheap copy paper, it just crinkles it up. And so that's my advice to you anyway. It depends on your machine. It all just depends on your machine. So all I'm doing is putting a very, 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 very light slathering, because it's just paper. It's going to stick automatically. Get my edges. Now I'm just going to do the back and the shelf, I think. What have I got done on this one? Yeah. Just slide it into place as even as you can. That's looking good. And I'm just gently applying a bit of pressure. And that's done. Now I'm going to be clever. I'm going to do the inside of this part. So it'll save you trying to get your paintbrush up and you're trying to paint it. Nobody's really going to see it, but you know what? I'll know. So that's all that matters. You know, if you're going to be selling these, it's worth your while investing just the tiniest little bit of effort, a little bit of more extra effort into finishing them off really nice and really well. Now, you don't have to use the paper. You can use any other backing paper if you have a theme going in a room. There's hundreds and hundreds of backing papers up on the website. I will leave links below. Now, my shelf sides. Sorry about this. Now, I really completely forgot. I'm glad I remembered. I really like that paper. I'm seriously considering now getting some wallpaper done in it. Do you hear this little man? He owns the world, this fella. Jerry, stop. Attention me. I'm going to shut the door over. Yeah, that's that. Hopefully we won't hear him. I don't know if you could hear him from there because the phone is way over here. For such a tiny little dog, he has a big mouth. Now I'm going to put these back into their respective places. These are all dry. The paper is fine. The paper is fine damp. Now I have my gloopy glue. I mean, in case you haven't seen, I got a suggestion from a lovely lady on Facebook because I had a crisis over a non-tacky glue. Just fill it with your glue and leave it for a few hours and it goes tacky and it works a treat. It's brilliant. I'm using this for the moment. I was using a very expensive tacky glue, but I'm reconsidering my life choices now after learning this tip. So what are we going to start with? We're going to start with our box. So that's going to be, the pattern side is going to be the inside. So I'm going to turn it over. This is our box sides. What we're going to make is this part first. This box part. So the pattern paper will go to the inside. So I am going to glue the edges of this, the inner edges. I'm going to catch that there. I'm going to catch that there. And then when we have it in position, we'll be good to go. Now I'm just very gently going to turn it around and make sure I have it all up to the top, nice and even and flat. This is very dodgy. We're in dodgy territory here. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Now I'm going to leave that to settle. I'm going to get my glue off with my silicone tool. I can wipe it down with a damp cloth in a few minutes. This for me is the best way. You'll find your own way. Go along with me for now. It's awkward, but you will get used to it. And then you can find your own way. Now I'm going to leave that to settle for a few minutes. I wanted to talk about, what did I want to talk about? Yeah, the pattern paper. This is one I've made earlier on. It still has to be varnished and what have you, but I've really gone to town on it. If you have a look, I've done under the shelf, you know, on this one. So it's up to you. You can play around and whatever's to your taste. I really like that paper. Now, what do we go now? We're going with the lower shelf. What I want to do is take this up. Hopefully it doesn't fall apart. At home, you would leave it longer to settle. You'd be more patient. It's just for the tutorial. I'm rushing. Put that down. Stop sticking. Right. Now flat. This is flat. I'm bringing it up to it. I want it even. I want the gap even on both sides. We want it, this part here dead central. I'm sorry, I have to put that dog out. Sorry now, be back now. The dog had me distracted that much. I was putting my shelf on the wrong end. Okay, I have to do this because never mind having myself confused, I have you confused. I promise you, I do know how to make these. Right, you put your two sides, you put that, and you make sure all this is even and flush. This is your bottom shelf. I'm going to very, very carefully pick this up. Put some glue on here on the very ends. And bring this up and try get the two sides as even as possible. I know looking at that it's not. It's very hard from this angle. I'm just going to stand it up. See what needs. Oh, it's actually not too bad. I didn't do too bad there. Now I did because I just moved it all down. Hold on a sec. You have to make sure, see the back of the shelf. The front of the shelf is curved. The back of the shelf is straight and flat. You have to make sure these two are flush. So it's going to rest. It's going to rest against the back. So they have to be flush. Now I'm just going to take this opportunity to get rid of some glue. Wrong tool. Yeah. Get in there. They look even, don't they? They look even to me anyway. Yeah, I am just going to leave that to settle for a few. From this angle it does not look even, but then when I stand it up and look at it, it's even. No, it's not. I have to move it all up. Now we're good to go, aren't we? Yes. Now I really am making this look incredibly difficult. It's only because normally when I know I explain this all the time, normally I have things on top of me, nearly in my face when I'm putting them together. So you'll be able to do it at your own pace, and yeah, that's that done. It's as even as I can get it from here anyway. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get our back and our top shelf. There's no right or wrong side to this top shelf or edges, or so we're going to put glue along the top edge. I'm being reasonably generous with the glue. Wipe it really well off the back. Now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to nudge this up to here. I don't know, there's no really, the gap either side. We want this to be central to the shelf. I'm squashing it down. I think our gap is good there. If I turn it up, you'll see, I think. Do you see the gap here and the gap here? Put it back down. Squashing it up. Now I'm going to take this opportunity again to take off any excess glue, make life easier when we're painting later on. I'll leave that to settle for just a few. Just making sure everything is tight underneath there. Yeah, so yeah, it's up to you entirely. You know, I like them. I like them either way. Now this one has been painted with chalky paint. So if you see any, it makes it thicker. If you look at the difference, chalky paint actually thickens up the pieces. This one's dry. Now, I'm going to bring this back here, get you out of there. I'm going to turn this over very gently. And I'm going to demolish it with glue on the back, on all the edges, all the back edges. Now do you see this and this, how flush they are? That's very important. So it'll stick to the back of this. Now, Jerry, my doggy, seems to have quietened down. Thank goodness. I don't know if he came across. He is loud. For such a tiny dog, he is loud. My ears sometimes hurt. Now, he's not really a barker. But if I'm out, if he knows I'm in the house and he can't come into the space I'm in, he goes ballistic. He's needy. That's what he is. A typical man. Needy. I'm only kidding. Now, again, we're just going to prop this up. We want the gaps either side to be identical. Gap this side, identical. So we want all this central. I'm just going to wipe off the glue. Now, I don't know, you have to be careful. Sometimes it depends on what printer you have. If it's just an inkjet printer, sometimes your patterns will run if you allow the glue to get too wet on them. So just be aware of that if you're using pattern papers. Now do you know what? I'm definitely going to use this for my doll's house. I love it. For my own doll's house. I'm going to make curtains and everything out of that. I'm going to show you at some stage how to print onto fabric using your printer. It opens huge doors in miniature making and coordinating things and what have you. I hope that's even now. I really do. Well, that's it made. Now we're going to get rid of, see the ridges? We're going to get rid of those now. What I'm going to do is I need fresh glue. Gloopy glue won't do for this. You need nice smooth glue. Nice smooth and easy flowing glue. No, this is still wet, so I'm going very gentle. It looks like I'm being rough with it, but I'm not. So I'm going to start on the edge. And I'm just glooping it on. This is not your if it's not your first tutorial, you know exactly what I'm doing. For people who are only new to the channel and it's your first video to watch, this is for your benefit. Now I am literally glooping it on, making almost a dome. This glue is going to dry flat and it's going to fill those grooves. It's magic what happens. It really is. God bless whoever invented PVA glue. Now you will continue that. You will take your time. Cleaning off the edges. You will take your time. I'll just do this one here. I'm going to hold it up so you can see what I've done. See where, and see the grooves. That's going to dry flat. Now when the glue dries, it's pretty much going to dry see-through, and you'll think the grooves are still there, but they won't be after you paint them and varnish them. I'm looping it on. Now you will take your time, and you'll get anywhere that's driving you nuts, or you know, you will get all the spots with the grooves. You're probably going to have to do it in stages. You know, do whatever you can, let it dry, then do the next bit, like the underneath here. I would leave that to last, the under edges. So I'm just going to put that to one side. In between stages. Now I have tried to use heat guns to try speed up that process, but it's not good. It puts grooves into the glue, so be aware of that. But anyway, an hour, I'd say an hour in a nice warm atmosphere, a nice warm dry atmosphere. Well, here it is now. You can see the shine, I hope. Let it focus. You can see here the shine. You can still kind of see the grooves, but they're gone. They're pretty much gone. Now, we know what time it is now. Once more, for posterity, anything you use on this furniture, this style of making furniture, compressed card, has to be water-based. Your varnish, your glues, your paints. This is my varnish. I know I show it every time. I'm going to leave it there so you can take a shot, a shot of it. It's non-yellowing and it's water-based. This is a matte finish. It has a nice little sheen to it. Which lends itself perfect to miniature furniture. But if you can't, you don't necessarily have to get this brand, but just make sure it's non-yellowing and it's water-based. Let me just put the dibble in there. That's probably even too much. Now I'm just using cheap Mr. Pricey brushes. You go through brushes like if you're like me, you forget to give them a good rinse afterwards. I don't know how many brushes I'm after throwing out. Now you're literally, the paper and everything, you're going to douse this with this varnish. And you can go back over later on and smooth out any little lines or get into all the nooks and crannies. Now it changes the colour slightly. It changes the colour of the paper because I have inkjet printer. So it's going to kind of darken it up and make it more, what would you say, vintage looking. But that's okay. I think that adds to it. Do the edges. Every little nook and cranny. Edges. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave that to dry. Until it's touch dry, which would be about 10-15 minutes, maybe 20, depending again on where you live. Now hopefully now you'll see, I got a hair or something on that brush. Hopefully now you'll see this soaks, and I mean soaks in. Excuse me. Oh, that's another thing. There is a little smell off this, but it's not overwhelming. I have a window open, but it's a very slight smell. And that's the beauty of that varnish. Now, I don't know if you can see that. It's just literally soaking in. And that's what you want. It's going to strengthen and add and become part of your furniture. Now I'm just going to turn over and do the back. Did I do here? I did. I'm just lashing it on, and then I'm going to go over it with a when I clean off my brush a little, and I'm going to smooth it all out. Now I'm just smoothing it out. Now I'm going to leave it on its edge there to dry. Now at home you would be taking your time doing this. I'm just going to leave it there to dry. Excuse me. Sneezes. Okay, I'll be back in about 10 minutes when that's dry. Now I've just poured some of my paint into this off camera. This is Dulux Aqua Max Satin Wood. I just bought a tin of white. This is the smallest size they had in the store I was in. I would have gone smaller if I could have. But see this tin, this whole tin is going to be the gift that just keeps on giving. There's just a tiny amount in these little tubs. You can mix it, because it's water based, you can mix it with all these sample pots and mix and match and make your own colours. And if you want a light blue, just put a tiny bit of that in. You know, it's fantastic, this paint. Now, sometimes I just use the sample pots. Sometimes I just use acrylic paint. As long as it's water-based, you're good to go. So I'll hold that there. I'm trying to see where it's a bit small to see the writing on it. But sure, you could look it up online. Now, it doesn't have to be Dulux brand. As long as it's water-based satin wood. And it has a lovely sheen on it. You know, obviously, this is used for painting doors and furniture indoors. So, there you go. Look how messy I am. I'm terrible. I have to go around and clean that now later on. Yeah, my hands are full of everything. Okay. With my trusty paintbrush. Now, I'm looking at this one. I didn't put any on the under shelf. Now you can paint if you do that and you decide you don't want this under here, you can paint over it. It's fine. You can paint over the whole lot of it if you decide you don't like the paper. I'm trying to... Do you see how much darker the paper has gone with the varnish? That's because it's an inkjet paper. If you had a laser jet paper, it'd stay that colour. But I like it. I kind of like it. A bit vintagey looking. You know, I would actually, I don't know, I'm not going to go looking for paint. Cream, that would be lovely with a cream on it. A nice kind of champagne-y cream. But we're going white today. Now, all I'm doing is putting it on as smooth as I can and as even as I can. This is definitely going to need 2 coats. So, don't go mad. Put glubbing the paint on. I'm going to get my edges nice and neat. See how those grooves filled in with the glue? You see that? I'm going to wipe a bit off that because you get into every little orifice. I have my pokey tool there. I have a little pokey tool, there's glue on the end of it. I think it came with a quilling set, but it's perfect, you know, for getting paint out of, or glue out of these little holes or crevices in furniture. I'm going to make sure I got in there good and proper. Now, this varnish is touch dry, but it's not cured. I know I say this every time, but it's just in case someone is new. So what you will have to do is, I just contaminated my paint job with glue. Sorry, now I have to wipe this off. What you will have to do is, after your first coat of paint, I would just leave it overnight and let everything cure before you do your second coat of paint. Now I'm going to just redo that because I don't know what I got on it. And the edges. See, I just did it. If you get a little bit up on it's okay. You know, you just wipe it off and it'll add to it. I don't know if you can see on that. I've gotten some, I haven't done it perfect. I've gotten some on the edges. It's fine. It really is fine. And then like that, you be taking your time. Now I have tried painting before gluing and it just doesn't work. The process just doesn't work. The furniture is not as strong as it should be, and believe me, I've tried it. I've tried everything. I really have. Now, I'm just trying to get it. You can't even see the angle, Emma. It's getting in there nice and neat. Actually, a smaller brush wouldn't have went amiss. Just a light little covering. The second coat now will be more vibrant and whiter. Just making sure to smooth it out. Now after this dries, that's time then to examine it. Do you remember we glued all the edges to get rid of all the marks? All the marks of the grooves? After this coat of paint dries, it's time to examine it then, and if there's any grooves that are annoying you, re-glue them and leave it to dry for a couple of hours and then apply your second coat of paint. I've had to do it many a time. It doesn't always work out perfectly. I'm just putting the light coat on. One thing I will say is the paper, putting the paper on, the backing paper on, saves a lot of paint and a lot of effort. It looks well, though. I think it looks well. Now I'm after leaving myself in a bit of a bind. I'm just going to do the edges and then we'll go on to the back in a few minutes when it's touch dry. But you get the general gist. I see the grooves are gone, pretty much. And sometimes if a little few bits of grooves are showing up, the second coat can kind of get rid of them. So you will learn, the more you do this type of furniture, you will learn to know by looking at it, you know. I hope I wasn't too far off camera. Now, I'm actually going to just give that a swipe because there was a bit of a lump there. Now, I'm going to leave that on its back to dry, but you get the gist of it. Now, I'm not going to bore you and keep pausing and coming back and coming back. When that coat is dry, you leave the varnish and the paint, first coat of paint, leave it for 24 hours. Just leave it, even overnight. But I would say 24 hours the next day. Then examine it to see if you have any grooves you want to get rid of. If not, give it its second coat of paint. You leave that paint to dry for about 3 to 4 hours then, your second coat. Then apply your varnish and leave it. After 24-48 hours, the varnish will fully cure and everything will tighten up and it becomes practically wood. It's amazing. I'm telling you now, one of the main things is that varnish and water-based everything, because it soaks into everything and it literally becomes part of the paper, the card. So I hope that has been of use to you. I was very diddery in this one. That dog was distracting me and everything else, and then the clouds coming over panicked me because I was afraid I'd have to redo the video if it was too dark. I still don't know if I have to look at it back. But anyway, there you go. There's plenty of paper. I will leave links below for the website where you can buy the files and everything else. And I'll also leave a link for a definitive video tutorial from start to finish, gluing down a piece of furniture right down to the very end. So for now, I'm going to go look after me poor little doggy. I'm going to say slán go fóill, and I'll see you soon.